of nations saying that they will recognize the Baltics as independent states, something President Bush has so far resisted doing. There is growing pressure for the president to change his policy and the policy of his administration and to have the United States flat out recognize the independence of the Baltics now. But just to refresh your memory, that the Baltic states, Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania, were taken by the Soviet Union in a deal between the late Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler. The United States has never recognized the deal that put the Baltics into the Soviet Union, but then lately, President Bush has steadfastly declined to recognize the Baltics' call for independence. The president is just about on the lawn there in Kennebunkport. We had the 2-minute warning a short while ago. But the dilemma for the United States has been how to come out in favor of independence for the Baltics. This is as explained by President Bush, how to come out in favor of independence for the Baltics without undercutting President Gorbachev. But of course, events of the last few days have weakened Gorbachev's standing. Boris Yeltsin, now the lead man in the Soviet Union. So with all that in mind, let's go to Kennebunkport. And we await the president's coming out of his vacation cottage in Maine. Brian Mulroney, the Canadian Prime Minister, at the president's left.
Let me just make a couple of opening comments. First, to say what a pleasure it was for the Bush family to have the Mulroneys here. And particularly at this time, it was important that I have an opportunity to consult with Canada's Prime Minister. It seems coincidental that it was a year ago that we were consulting, and I value his judgment now as I did then. A year ago, we were talking about how to repel aggression, and today we're talking about exciting changes in the Soviet Union that will benefit everybody, in my view. So once again, I have at my side here today a man that I trust, a man whose judgment I value, and these consultations were in the best tradition of diplomacy. We talked about a number of issues, in particular the status of the Baltics, and we also talked about economic aid. We're having a Sherpa meeting. We're having a deputy and the finance ministers meeting taking place in the next couple of days, and they'll be very interesting. We'll get a little more information from them. I wouldn't look for major decisions from the U.S. side anyway coming out of those meetings. I talked this morning, as did the Prime Minister, with Chancellor Kohl, Prime Minister Kaifu, Antal of Hungary. We're in close agreement on most issues regarding the change. During the week, I'm going to have more discussions with other world leaders, and the Baltic situation has been very important. I think everybody knows the U.S. position about wanting a full and total independence. There's still some matters that they themselves have to hammer out. I'll let the Canadian Prime Minister obviously speak for himself, but we're moving very, very close to recognition. There's some questions about what do you recognize. There's some border questions that are important, and of course, I'm anxious to hear, as I said, I think yesterday, the outcome of the meetings at the Soviet, in the Supreme Soviet. On the economic side, we had a far-reaching discussion, and we agreed that this is an issue that the industrial democracies need to review carefully. For the U.S. side, I can tell you that I've seen nothing to make me change my mind about the agreement we collectively took at London in the G7. There, a determination to help the Soviet Union, but a recognition that reform had to take place. And there's a little bit of uncertainty now, and they themselves need to sort that out so that when you have a contract, you know who it's with. When you have a deal, you know who it's going to be fulfilled. But the change has been so traumatic, we can't expect all that to be ironed out overnight. But nevertheless, again, moving in the right direction. We'll stand ready to assist when we can. But speaking for the United States, there will be nothing out of this Sherpa meeting that will commit us to the writing of checks, as I've referred to it. I am making available today, announcing the availability of this $315 million of the second tranche of the agricultural credits to the Soviet Union. I believe the Prime Minister will have more to say on that subject. So events are moving rapidly. They're going in the direction of freedom and democracy.